This episode of Around the Layout is powered by Rapido Trains.
Buying Rapido Trains will make you happy.
Rapido's going back to the 90s for the return of the Mac. SD70 Macs in both HO and N scale in variations you've never seen before. Whether it's coal or racks, you need a 70 Mac. Check out all of the details at rapidotrains.com. Looking for that locomotive, freight car, structure, or detail part you just can't seem to find? Check out Spring Creek Model Trains. With a huge selection from today's top manufacturers, Spring Creek is a destination for model railroaders looking for what's next. Whether in Deschler, Nebraska, online at springcreekmodeltrains.com, or at train shows throughout the country, stop by and say wow. Are your out-of-the-box industries looking a little plain? Tully Models can help. With a wide variety of industrial and agricultural details and a bunch of new releases, Tully Models is sure to have the super details you need to bring your industries to the next level. Place your order today at tullymodels.com. ATLP Extra is our monthly newsletter delivered right to your inbox each month. Sign up for free at atlpextra.com. Hello everybody and welcome to Around the Layout, where model railroaders come to tell their story. My name is Ray Arnott, so glad you could join us. It's time once again to find out what's happening in model railroading, and we'll kick it off by finding out what's trending in the hobby with Joe Markins.
This is Joe Markins from the Dajo Trains YouTube channel, and here's what's trending in model railroading. If you're looking for a new water tender for your HO scale steam locomotives, you're in luck because Broadway Limited Imports has announced the DLMX 4219 auxiliary water tender. This is one of the most famous excursion service tenders, as it has been pulled by multiple railroads throughout its career. This model comes in 4 prototype paint schemes: the Southern Pacific Daylight to match 4449, Canadian Pacific matching 2816, BNSF in the Employee Special scheme, and the Santa Fe Let's Roll paint. Other fantasy paint schemes will include the Chessie Steam Special, Norfolk and Western to match the 611, and the American Freedom Train, to name a few. The model will feature touch lighting controls for the reversing light on the rear of the tender, which will function in both DC and DCC operation. Pre-order by October 29th for an estimated arrival in spring 2027. The newest locomotive to be added to the ScaleTrains HO scale lineup will be their brand new Dash 8s in their rivet counter line. These locomotives were the staple of late 1980s and 1990s railroading for many railroads and have many possible configurations and body styles. This first production run will be the C40-8 body, plus Ferromex's C30-S7MP or the Super 7s. Other road names offered include Union Pacific, Norfolk Southern, CSX, and Canadian National. Multiple paint scheme variations and special anniversary artwork units are offered as well, with road number specific details such as beacons, DPU lights, and HVAC units. Pre-orders are due by August 31st for an expected delivery in summer 2027. A long-awaited set of models has just been announced by Rapido Trains. The HO scale Rio Grande ski train is back. Leading the consist are the 3 ex-Amtrak F40PHs featuring Mo-Power capacitors, Cannon & Company fans, and working ditch, strobe, backup, marker, and headlights. These also have the A, B, and C markings on each unit to denote their normal running position in the consist after they arrived in 2000. If you're looking to model the ski train a bit earlier during the 1980s, Rapido has also announced an addition to their next GP40 production run that will now include 2 of the Rio Grande GP40s that could typically be found leading the train, numbers 3085 and 3135. These ran with a steam generator and later a head-end power-equipped rebuilt PB unit that Rapido will also be producing, with many specific details on each version during their decades-long service careers from the late 1960s to the 2000s. These cars will also feature sounds, functional on both DC and DCC layouts. Finally, you'll need some passenger cars to complete the ski train, so Rapido has announced the XCN and Via Tempo coaches, which arrived in 1988. These cars will have the typical Rapido details with a full underbody, track-powered interior lighting and marker lights with a Mo-Power capacitor inside. These ski train models have a pre-order date of January 15th, 2027, so be sure to set a reminder to get an order in as these are sure to be incredibly popular. For our O-scale crowd, Sunset Models Third Rail has you covered with many new announcements in their recent Fall 2026 catalog. One shining note are new runs of Siemens ST44 and ALC42 chargers and GE P42 Genesis locomotives. These models sold out very quickly from the first run and are now back with new details and paint schemes. Both models will now have extreme detail in their cab interiors, which are also lit, plus the same separately applied brass details and metal frame from the original run. A new addition to the lineup this time is the P40 Genesis, plus a brand new offering of the P32 ACDM with the same level of scale detail. These will be available in both 2-rail and 3-rail configurations, and should arrive in the summer of 2027, so reserve yours today to not miss out. Are you looking for some 1980s era HO scale tank cars? Tangent Scale Models has the brand new NACC jacketed 33,000 gallon dual diameter flammable gas tank cars in stock. These are in class DOT 112J340W and have never been produced in HO scale before today. These tank cars received special modifications starting in 1979, where extra insulation or a jacket was installed around the tank, with metal boxes added around the bolster and couplers were swapped to shelf couplers. Available in 3 unique road number specific paint schemes, plus a black painted undecorated model, these models have all the features you can expect from a Tangent freight car. KD metal couplers and rotating roller bearing caps are standard, plus scale draft gearboxes and CNC machined 36-inch metal wheels. Make sure to order yours today from your favorite hobby shop or Tangent directly. For the Rio Grande N scale fans, Trainworks has delivered the 1400 series steel cupola cabooses this month. Available in both DC or DCC configurations, these models feature a red end of train light and white reverse spotlight that is either directionally controlled or controlled with your DCC throttle. The cabooses also come with separate metal grab irons, body-mounted magnetic knuckle couplers, and separate ladders and roof locks. These models are available in the Rio Grande Action Road paint 4-stripe scheme, and black with or without the orange painted cupola and ladders signifying switch service. These cabooses are available in very limited quantities, so make sure to pick one up soon if you're interested. Atlas Model Railroad Company has released their summer 2026 catalog with some big news of upgrades to their future master line models. All models announced in the catalog and all those moving forward in the master line will now come with metal couplers, and all Gold Line locomotives, their term for their sound-equipped line, will feature factory-installed ESU passive radiator speakers, which promise a fuller sound with improved bass and realism. The first locomotives to see these upgrades are the newly announced runs of U30Cs, U33 and 36Bs, SD35s, and H1544 and H1645s. These will be in modelers' hands in the second quarter of 2027, but are now available for pre-order through September 9th. Also announced in their rolling stock department is a new run of the Masterline Norfolk Southern Topcons, a favorite and needed model for any NS fan. These will come in 4 different paint schemes and in both singles and 3-packs, with new road numbers across the board. Order yours today from your favorite dealer for delivery in the first quarter of 2027, and be sure to check out the Atlas Summer 2026 catalog for a full list of their brand new models. If you enjoyed this segment, be sure to subscribe to the Dajo Trains YouTube channel for a weekly recap video covering HO scale new product announcements and updates from a variety of manufacturers. Other videos include HO scale new product reviews and helpful tips with much more on the way. Once again, visit DAJOE Trains on YouTube.com. Thanks for tuning in. This has been Joe Markins from the Dajo Trains YouTube channel, and that's what's trending in model railroading.
Thank you, Joe, for that report. And now we're going to take a deep dive, and we're going to do it a little different this month. One of the big newsmaker events was the St. Louis RPM, and I was there with the microphone and had some conversations with some of the vendors that were there. We'll find out from each one of them what's happening in model railroading. So let's dive right in. Here we go. Always fun catching up with folks you only really see once a year. We talk in between, but once a year we get to hang out here at the St. Louis RPM. Alex from ABR Model Works. Alex, good to see you, my friend.
Yeah, always good to see you, Ray. You know, we get to see each other about once a year. It's always nice. We did see each other in Amherst just for a tiny bit. But yeah, it's always good catching up with people here at St. Louis RPM.
Yeah, great to see you and great to see the products that you brought here from ABR Model Works. And we went on the live, we shared it, but let's talk about it again, some of these new products and the things that you brought to share with the folks here at the St. Louis RPM.
Yeah, so the big thing that we announced here at the RPM was the Slim's Warehouse. It's been redesigned. It was one of our most popular kits, but we've redesigned it. We now have a ton of different inserts you can use. We've recessed the doors to make it more accurate. We have better supports on our platform, and you can make it so you can either have a brick platform or a concrete platform, and all you really have to do is just turn it inside out. And we've also added more 3D parts to the kit as well, since all of our craftsmen reinforcement kits. They come with a bunch of 3D parts to make the complete scene, so that way you don't have to go out hunting for what you may or may not need.
Slim's Warehouse seems to be appropriately named. Tell us where that would fit in the best.
Yeah, it would really fit in as like a good background building, or those of you who have shelf layouts. It's really nice, compact, doesn't take up that much space depth-wise. It's a little long, but it's really the compactness of how deep it goes back, which is a really good thing to have.
What I like about it is the versatility and making it uniquely yours with all the different components. Talk about designing that and your thought process as you were putting that all together.
Yeah, and a lot of the stuff that I design, I use it. I'm a model railroader as well, and so everything going through the designs, this is like our probably 6th version that we designed of it, going through, tweaking it every once in a while, really coming up with the best product that we can, and it's been about, it's been in development for about 4 or 5 months now, so really fine-tuning it, making sure that everything's good to go right out of the box.
When you build these kits, it's helpful to stay organized, and I see that you also have some products to help us keep organized as well.
Yeah, a couple months ago, we also came out with painting accessories, a painting accessory line. Last year, we did the paint drying rack, but this year we've also added, for those of you who model with the Red Apple Barrel 3-ounce acrylic paint bottles, we have paint racks for you guys. They either come in 25 or 10 versions, and we've also had a paintbrush rack developed as well, in which has room for active paintbrushes that you may be using, or if you want to store an active paintbrush, or if you want to keep them upright. We also have something in development where if you're painting with an acrylic bottle, you can have it at an angle. For those of you who want to just dip the paintbrush right in the bottle and use it right that, we also have that in development, but that'll be probably coming out later this fall.
Well, if your workbench isn't organized, it isn't because there isn't methods out there to help you do that. I know I personally need to get my bench organized as well, so these are some great products. And then we have, starting with the buildings we just talked about, and then we have organization, and then we also have some detail parts to make those buildings pop and become uniquely yours. Talk about your detail components.
Yeah, we have a whole ton of detail lines in HO and N scale. One thing that we came out with at the show is we have a redesigned crate variety pack, which has 4 different kinds of crates: a small, medium, large, and extra large crates. We also, last month, we came out with propane tanks in both HO and N scale, and the 3 most popular sizes we went on were 250, 500, and 1,000 gallon. But yeah, we really try and come up with a whole ton of different parts that you can use on your layout.
Excellent stuff here, and here at the St. Louis RPM. You got any other shows coming up, Alex?
Well, we are making the trek down to Chattanooga next week, so we will have obviously the same setup here, but yeah, we're going to Chattanooga next week, and then later we'll be heading out to Altoona in September for the N-Scale meet out there as well.
Excellent. Well, we hope people will join us in Chattanooga and then see you out in Altoona. But if they can't make that trek, tell us where they can find more about your products.
Yeah, you can find us. Our online store is abrmodelworks.com. Yeah, we have an online store there, shipping worldwide. So we're out there on the web.
Awesome. Yeah, check that out, and check them out at a train show near you, hopefully either in Altoona or Chattanooga. I know I'll see you in Chattanooga. Looking forward to that. Until we get out there, great talking with you, Alex.
Yeah, great seeing you, Ray, as always.
Walking around here at the St. Louis RPM, and a guy I didn't even expect to see here. And I guess maybe we just didn't communicate that you were going to be here, but it's great to see anyway. Tom Garza from ScaleTrains.
Hey, nice to see you. Nice to be here.
Tell us, you're not set up at a booth, but I know your products are available here at the St. Louis RPM. Tell us about that.
Yeah, we got Spring Creek does a lot of shows around the United States. So me and Spring Creek have done a collaboration that they will carry my stuff so I can get to my stuff to more people because they already had the infrastructure. Yeah, as you know, I'm still young, trying to figure out the infrastructure stuff. And then Spring Creek, they got it together. They're all over the place. They're at Amherst. They're here. So if you're looking for some of Scale Sign stuff, definitely look for Spring Creek at a show. And yes, I have had a lot of people ask where my table is here. and I feel really super bad for my customers, but it's nice that, I mean, one reason why I'm here is because a lot of people expect me to be here, and so I wanted to show my face. I miss my customers. I like having talking with them. They give me a lot of feedback, so that's why I'm here, and I'm really glad.
Well, the St. Louis RPM is known for learning. What did you learn this weekend?
Well, I kind of learned chalks a little bit, which is really super cool. I was really super scared of that. But now I think I'll never use an airbrush again, which is really super cool. I had a lot of great time looking at the models. One of the things that was really cool about not having a table here and being a vendor, which I'm still kind of confused about, and in being a spectator, is I actually got to see the models down at the end where all people bring in their stuff, all the hard work they've done. And it really changed my mind on like how the model industry is and what the modelers do, because there's just some incredibly good detailed stuff over there, which is amazing. And that's what I kind of learned also, was that the sky's almost the limit. You just got to come to a place or talk to somebody to help you teach it, and like the chalks. And so that's what I think I really learned. I actually learned how to make my models better.
So is it safe to say that your flywheel is turning, leaving the St. Louis RPM?
And that's what's crazy. It is really turning hard. I think because I do make 3D models, and I try to, I want to be like that modeler to be able to make something for them. And being here this time, watching these people and learning, it's got my wheels really turning on how to make my products better for my customers, a little bit easier for them.
This was a road trip down from Michigan to Illinois, and I've joked about this before, but when you hit the road with signs, it's just got to be a research project everywhere you go. Are you able to turn it off, or is it just on all the time?
Okay, so I'm here with my friend John Dietzen and Kenny, and actually my grandson, very first RPM. He's 10, and I think this is probably the best day of his life, being 10 years. But so we went around St. Louis looking for trains, and oh my God, St. Louis has got such a variety of signs. We were in East St. Louis. For some reason, their stop signs are only 30 inches instead of 36. We've seen some signs that were so faded you could barely read them. And so, yeah, you're right. Because I'm here, we're just looking at everything. My friend John Dietzen, who's getting into 3D modeling, we're like, oh, look at that embankment. Look at that concrete block. And we're looking at the same thing, and we're already building it in our head because these things are really super cool. So yeah, being here and riding around, our wheels are turning so bad, we got to almost close our eyes just to get around.
Well, I would think it's impossible to turn off passion.
That's exactly it. Yeah. I don't know, you're kind of like the Matrix. When you see that movie and they can see the little green stuff, that's me thinking of Tinkercad on how I'm going to build it, or like the signs. Like right now, what I'm doing with signs is I'm taking pictures of real signs so I can turn them into my signs. So I'm getting away from making them. I'm actually taking pictures of real ones. And yeah, you're right. Like I already told my friends, we're going to come back to St. Louis for the weekend. And all we're going to do is drive around and take pictures of signs and take pictures of stuff. Literally, we're going to spend a whole weekend just documenting everything we saw this weekend.
So a trip down to the St. Louis RPM has set up a future research project here in the St. Louis area. And of course, there's a lot of great railroading around here too. And it's just a great weekend. So tied in with the St. Louis RPM. So glad you made it down. For the folks that didn't make it out to the St. Louis RPM, tell us where they can find out more about Scale Signs.
Well, you can go to my website, ScaleTrains.com. We have a Facebook also that you can find out that we try to stay on top of and put our new products that are coming out. So those are places. But then you like I said, if you're at a train show, look for Spring Creek. They're going to be there carrying our stuff. And if they don't have it, we got it, on my website.
Awesome stuff. Tom Garza from ScaleSigns.com. Thank you so much for stopping by here at the St. Louis RPM and having a little chat.
Oh, thank you for having me. And I always love talking to you. You're awesome.
Well, another familiar face here in St. Louis. We've got Jeff Otto from Oak Hill Model Railroad Track Supply. Jeff, good to see you.
Hey, good to see you too, Ray.
Awesome stuff here at the St. Louis RPM. And I know you got some new products. It's a great place to display them. The people that understand all this, right? This highly detailed track and the value that it brings. What'd you bring to this show to show off?
Yeah, well, this year we've got a new product line in our Roadmaster series. It's a Roadmaster Detail series, and they're basically They're HO scale rail braces for turnouts, rail joiners for track. We have 6-hole and 4-hole. And then also we have heel blocks for turnouts. And those are available in 70, 83, and 100.
Awesome stuff. Yeah. So now curved turnouts, and you got the alignment guys. You got all the tools here to get some track laid after this weekend, don't you?
Yeah. The other new product that I have on showcase here is our, flexible or curvable turnouts. And I actually have a curvable crossover that I'll be making shortly. And it's really gone over well. People just think it's fabulous, and it just allows you to build the track that your railroad needs, not be beholden to a specific radius, which is really nice. Guys really have appreciated and are really utilizing it well.
What are some of the common questions that you get when folks come up and see your booth?
Well, I think the main question is they want to know how the Roadmaster system works, and a big question that I get a lot is, where's the template? And that's a great question. I used to sell templates, but now the Roadmaster series has done away with the need for metal templates, which is good for the customer and good for modelers, because it's much more economical. So basically the way it works is the tie base along with the tie plates makes the template, and that allows you to build super accurate prototype models of track that function, I think, better than commercial.
I was over here earlier and I heard a gentleman come up and he asked the question about something very custom, and he says, are you up to the challenge? And you seem to be pretty positive about that. Talk about some of the custom stuff that you're able to help folks with, to be able to do that, to be able to have track that matches your desire for a layout, not the other way around.
Yeah, that's a great question. I actually get that a lot. One project that I'll be working on is a curved HON3 turnout and some track. I'm doing a lot of curved crossovers for gentlemen, curved turnouts. Also, I'm actually starting to build entire layouts. Like I had on display here, for those that saw it, was a yard and all the yard track and a couple crossovers that are in the yard. So what I'm able to do is also model actual places. One particular instance is I'm modeling Geelong, Australia, some trackage in Australia for a gentleman, and it's going to be utilizing the Roadmaster system. So it's kind of cool. I can actually model real places, which has actually been the goal from day one of the Roadmaster invention.
We are at a Railroad Prototype Modelers Meet, of course. It makes sense to have prototype track, doesn't it?
Right, yeah. I mean, prototype models, everyone wants, the nut and bolt counters, and Roadmaster fits that bill perfectly because it's prototype accurate. Like I said, tie spacing, we've got all these new detail parts, the rail braces, the rail joiners, the heel block. The heel block's you just insert in, doesn't really do anything, but it just looks cool. If you look at a prototype picture of a turnout, they all have them. So it's just really exciting. We've got, new stuff in the works, especially a lot of different crossovers and more diamonds coming, new frogs coming. So it's just a fun journey. It really is.
Are you going away from the St. Louis RPM with any new ideas?
Yes, actually, a couple of people came up with, they're like, why don't you have this? And what it is, our rail flow gauges, they come together where you can put in two 9.5-foot sections of track to make it straight or make it curved. Well, a couple of gentlemen were like, well, how about a 36-inch section? So we can do 36 inches of curve at a time, which would allow us to combine two pieces of flex track together and also straight track. So when I get home tonight, I'll be texting my laser guy, and we're going to be having 36 inches of straight, and we're going to do one, I believe it's a 36-inch curve for one of my buddies, Dave, to test out.
They're learning from you, and you're learning from them.
Yeah, I mean, I get, there's other ideas that people want, and really that's how I develop new products. One example is I've got Joliet diamonds here, which are 16 diamonds that I'm building for 4 different people, and there's 2 versions. There's pre-1994 version, which has all 16 diamonds, and there's the post-1994 version, which has 12 diamonds. So, it's 75-degree diamonds, so we developed that product, tie bases, the tie plates to go with it, and now we have a new product simply because some gentleman requested it. So yeah, that's how we get a lot of our new products.
Quite amazing. And We're coming to the close of the St. Louis RPM, and if folks came by, they saw something but didn't grab it, or maybe need something new, or didn't get here at all, and they hear something that they really need,
ohrtracksupply.com, or you can simply Google Oak Hill Track, and it should come up first.
and of course we'll share those links in our show notes as well. Jeff, going to let you get finished up here at the St. Louis RPM. You got some packing to do, and then heading back up to Wisconsin, but glad you took a few moments with us.
Yeah, always a pleasure, Ray. Thanks so much.
All right, and back at the 2026 St. Louis RPM with Chuck Stansel from LogicRail. Good to see you, Chuck.
Likewise, Ray. It's always good to see you at these shows.
You've got a cool display here. You've got some of your products working away and talking to a bunch of folks and sharing some of the technology that you brought with you. Talk about some of the new products that you got here.
Well, this year, to be candid, I don't have anything new, but I am demonstrating on this module that nobody can see on an audio podcast. I've got an HO scale section of track demonstrating our Grade Crossing Pro 2 product. So we've got a bell ringing, which adds a little extra flavor to the product. On the N scale section, I've got our block animator 2. So that's just a simple way to, as the name implies, animate some block signals. And have these trains just running back and forth, doing their thing while I'm able to talk to customers and explain features and try to be a salesman.
Talk about demystification, because when somebody looks at some of these products and maybe comes over and sees this, they may get a little confused or think it's beyond their level. Talk about how you're able to demystify all that for them.
Excellent question, Ray. So the first thing I do is I don't bombard a potential customer when they come up. I let them kind of absorb, sort of what the demo module is doing, and really kind of wait for them to ask a question, or I may ask them, what scale are you operating in? Are you looking for crossing control or block signals? And then I get into a little of the specifics about the products that we offer. And I do try to explain to them that, they may look complicated, but I'd like to think between the simplicity of how things are connected to our board and what I consider fairly good documentation, it's not too much of an overwhelming task. And I tell most people, look, if you've ever done anything in terms of installing a locomotive decoder, you can easily handle our circuits.
Well, I think having this visual would be able to start that demystification process. But if somebody had a problem in the process, tell me about the support behind it.
Thank you. So I'm actually quite proud of my customer support, always available via phone or email. And happy to help customers, walk through problems. I'll have them send me maybe a picture of a layout, or if they're having an issue with a product, whether it's installation or troubleshooting, I'm always there to help them. It's just not a one and done, make the sale and forget about the customer. And I'm happy to support them, because, I want them to be satisfied with my product, because satisfaction goes a long way and it helps sell more product to others when you've got a good reputation.
This is day 2 of the St. Louis RPM, and once you wrap up here, I know you're heading east. Tell us about that.
Yeah, I'm excited to be heading over to Chattanooga, packing up today and then traveling tomorrow. And I'll be there all week for the convention. I'm actually doing 2 clinics on my Light Effect 16 product and Fast Clock. And then I'll be partaking in clinics myself, doing a couple of operating sessions, and then the big national train shows next weekend, and hoping to go home with a lot less stuff than I'm bringing.
Well, that's the trick, right? Because you as the modeler, you come to an event like this, of course you're selling your products, but we're surrounded by a lot of really awesome stuff. Tell me how your guardrails work.
They're this year pretty good. I haven't been too bad as far as spending company profits, if you will. But yeah, there's a lot of bright, shiny objects around here, and a few I hadn't seen previously. It's got the wheels turning. And I'm sure that's going to happen again at the National Train Show. But this event is phenomenal. Such diehard modelers here. The models themselves, I was able to walk around before the show opened to the public this morning and just saw some incredible stuff over in the modeling section.
Yeah, that's what's neat about an RPM. You get the products like this available through LogicRail, and then you have the models. It's really the best of both worlds, being able to see what the work that folks have been doing, and then be able to enhance it with the products that are available here on the other side.
Exactly. I think the RPMs, and specifically the St. Louis RPM, although I'll admit I hadn't been to any others yet, it has that unique capability of both showcasing models without any judgment either, which I think is really key to the modelers ourselves. But then the ability to to see some of the top folks in the industry as far as what products are out there, whether it's for sale or demonstration. You've got Rapido's here and ScaleTrains is here. Class 1 Model Works. I mean, so a lot of the big boys are here, and a lot of the smaller guys as well.
Well, that's why I think that's neat. You have a major manufacturer, and then you have the cottage industry like you folks, and I have an affinity for the cottage industry and the things that you're doing. It's fascinating, and really love to see you out here at the show sharing these products in person. I mean, we've got so much technology that allows us to do all of this social media and all this virtual stuff, but being in person, standing next to each other and being able to physically see the product, talk about the difference that makes.
That's a huge difference. I'm glad you raised that point, Ray, because it's one thing to have a product in a plastic box or a bag hanging on a shelf somewhere. But seeing it live in person is even better, I think, than a video, because you have that interaction, with the manufacturer, so you can ask questions, I've got this, unique situation. Can your product fit that? So being able to have that face-to-face time, with the customer, with the product, being demonstrated live, is invaluable.
Oh, absolutely. Well, it's so great to be with people and like people and your people, and that we're all together here sharing this amazing event, the 2026 St. Louis RPM. Chuck, I'll look forward to seeing you in Tennessee.
Great. Have safe travels, Ray. I'll see you soon.
All right, here at the 2026 St. Louis RPM and catching up with Tully Models and Kevin Tully himself. Kevin, good to see you.
Good to see you, Ray. It's always good to see you in person.
Yeah, great to hang out in person. And boy, we talk a lot on the phone, but it's always great to be in person. And I think that's one of the great things about an RPM, right? That family reunion, getting to see people face to face and have that real interaction in person.
Yeah, it is. It's I come for the vending, obviously, but I have to say the fellowship with other modelers and getting to see guys that a couple of the guys came from as far away as Australia and the other side of the globe. It's always good to see them in person. And I think that's a big benefit of an RPM type show is you're getting all the real hardcore modelers and you're getting to meet them from all over the country, whereas you may only ever contact them on Facebook or messages or something like that.
Yeah, that's for sure. Being able to be, I'd like to say at the foot of the customer. Maybe I say it a lot, maybe I say too much, but it's true. And you learn so much. What kind of ideas are you going back to Tully Models headquarters with after this show?
We've had some requests for some items that have to do with nitrate production or mining. I have to do some research in on that. I was on a podcast, not a podcast, but just like a roundtable talk show last week. And those guys were requesting things for paper mill modeling. And I know that's a big deal, and those guys don't have a lot of support. So I've actually gotten some books, and I've had a few guys here ask me for those kind of products. So that's something I'm going to dive into. And I don't think we'll get it this year, but in the spring, maybe at Amherst or something, we'll have those kind of products.
That's awesome. That research that goes behind all this, the things that you learn, that must be really enjoyable for you.
It is. I'm one of those people. I'm technically the goofy word called a polymath, so I love learning things. And sometimes the research is hard to do, but I always tell people when they introduce themselves to me, I'll probably forget your name in 10 minutes, but you can tell me how a mechanism works and I'll remember it for the rest of my life. So I seem to have that kind of head. So the research is a lot of fun for me. I always get the question, how do you know so much about coke production or steel mills or grain elevators or whatever? And it's honestly, it's just being around it, talking to people that worked in the industry or doing my own research. And it just seems to stick. So that's very helpful in helping someone do a modeling scene.
Well, it's clear by looking up and down where you're here at the St. Louis RPM that you've been doing a lot of research and a lot of printing and a lot of making kits as well. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 8 table, something like that. It's a long stretch of product here. Why don't you tell us a little bit about what you brought?
So I brought this show set in the Midwest. I tend to bring more of the Southern Tier grain modeler supply side than the industrial modelers because there's just more ag modelers out here with the BNSF and guys modeling the Missouri Pacific and UP and things like that. So there's a little bit of those things here, storage tanks and whatnot. And then the majority of what I brought was all the agricultural modeling things. So I have elevator kits. I have 3 of the new feed mill structure kits are here. Unfortunately, I didn't get the other kits in time from the laser cutter. I was hoping to maybe have them at Chattanooga, but I don't think they're going to be there either. So we'll release those just online. I have the new Agway trucks, the Brockway Agway trucks that I worked with Jazz Miller from 3D Productions on here. Those have been very popular. Lots of the little doodads, bucket elevators and distributors and things like that, dryers that are more accessories to a larger scene that always do very well at the shows. Those are all the little fine details that make the scene come alive, and it's not just a conglomeration of structures and bins. So it's 8 tables of all that stuff.
Well, that's a thing that we've talked about in the past is upfitting some of these readily available commercial kits and being able to add that. Talk about a little bit of the details that you've brought for doing that kind of work as well.
Yeah, sure. You could take, for instance, the typical cement elevator that Walters produces. I brought, of course, tower dryers and a couple of other types of dryers that you could add to that. Adding a wooden conveyor house to the top of the cement bins would backdate the structure just a little bit. I brought dust collectors. There's those big cement silos actually do have aerators on them. You could add aerators to that scene. I have truck scales. I have different surge hopper loaders that for loading hopper cars with me. I also have surge hopper style truck loaders that you could add for loading a truck. So you could ditch the little shed with the one spout for loading rail cars, and you could go to something like a modern 40-ton surge hopper and update the appearance, because that happened. They built those sheds like that for loading cars back in the 50s, but by the 70s they had gotten rid of that stuff and just knocked it down off the side of the elevator and put up a modern surge hopper, or like the 140-ton Clayton and Lambert surge hopper loader that I have here that has a much larger capacity. All of those little details. I have electrical boxes and things that you could put around the bottom of the elevator for those kind of scenes. I have you could add a scale house and a truck scale. I have a concrete block scale house that you could build for that. And that all enhances that scene. So the structure itself is actually a pretty good structure from Walters, but adding all those little details, better cyclones than the ones that come in the kit, hand railings, cage ladders, those all add those little details that change it up and make someone think maybe you scratch built that and it's not just a plastic kit. And it's very easy to do those details. You could do all that stuff in a couple of weekends worth of work on it and make a really nice scene.
Yeah, it makes it uniquely yours.
It does. Yeah, it takes something that's it's not bad, the Walters structures or some of the other structures that are out there, but you have to think of those as the basic structure, and then really look at a photograph of what you're modeling and see all the other little details that are on the outside of the thing that make it really stand out and look like a business that's open and that actually an industry that's functioning.
So we're at the St. Louis RPM this weekend. Next weekend, we're off to Chattanooga. You're going to be there too.
I will. I'll be seeing you there. It's like a summer tour of model train shows. So hopefully we'll see lots of people from the East Coast that they had to pick one show and they chose to go there. And we'll see all our good friends there from the East Coast.
We're absolutely looking forward to that. If you can't make it here to St. Louis or out to Chattanooga, tell us where we can find more on Tully Models.
You can go to tullymodels.com. That's TULLY, no E, models.com, or you can just Google search Tully Models and it'll come right up. And there's over 600 items in HO, and then across the other scales there are items as well to select from. And I ship worldwide.
Great stuff. Well, you've got a customer here ready to do some purchasing. We'll let you back to it, but thanks for joining me here at the St. Louis RPM.
Good seeing you, Ray. Take care.
And now it's time for the RPM report. Let's turn it over to Eric Hansman.
It's time for your August Dog Days of Summer Railroad Prototype Modeler Report. The RPM calendar is pretty quiet right now. The only event is the Waterloo Railway Exposition in Ontario, Canada on the final August weekend. This should be a wonderful event covering Canadian prototypes. September features the Anthracite Railroad Modelers Weekend in Hamburg, Pennsylvania. on the 19th through the 21st. This meet focuses on the dozen railroads that served the anthracite coalfields of northeastern Pennsylvania over the decades. It's held in the Reading Railroad Heritage Museum, which is a pretty neat place. I don't know if you've noticed, but a few Historical Society meets are incorporating elements of RPM events. The Anthracite Modelers Meet and Waterloo event are examples. The Santa Fe Railway Historical Society meet in June was another. The Chesapeake and Ohio, Louisville and Nashville, Pennsylvania Railroad, and Southern Pacific groups also have held conferences with model displays and discussions. Next year, the New York Central Historical Society will hold their annual conference in conjunction with the New England RPM. These are natural partnerships to share prototype information and exchange modeling tips and techniques. I suspect more historical groups will be including RPM elements in their conferences or partnering with an RPM event. Quite a few historical societies were among the vendors at the St. Louis RPM last month. If you are focused on modeling a specific railroad or two, consider joining the Associated Historical Societies to discover more information and increase your network. Looking to October, there are 5 RPM events scheduled, including the Mid-Atlantic RPM and RPM Naperville, which is celebrating the 30th gathering in Metro Chicago. For information and links to these and more upcoming events, check the RPM calendar link at aroundthelayout.com/RPM. Make plans to attend a prototype modeler meet near you. I'll be back again next month with another RPM report. Until then, let the prototype be your guide.
Well, thank you, Eric, for that report. And now it's time to find out what's happening in and around ATLP universe. The Ozarks Model Railroad Association Train Show is being held on September 11th and 12th at the Ozarks Empire Fairgrounds in Springfield, Missouri. 300 vendor tables, 15 operating layouts, a brand new Inspiration Station family-friendly area, and much more. Check out more on this event at omraspringfield.org or find a link in our show notes aroundthelayout.com/251. The Missouri Model Railroad Museum is hosting Brass 2026 in Independence, Missouri on September 18th and 19th. This event boasts vendors, clinics, exhibits, a layout tour, and a banquet on Saturday. You can find a link for this event in our show notes aroundthelayout.com/251. Spring Creek Model Trains is heading to the Central Arkansas Train and Hobby Show at the Conway Expo Center in Conway, Arkansas, August 22nd and 23rd. Then they're off to the N-Scale Weekend in the Blair County Convention Center in Altoona, Pennsylvania, September 12th and 13th. You can see their entire schedule at springcreekmodeltrains.com. After 2 weekends in a row of travel between the St. Louis RPM and the National Train Show in Chattanooga, September will be pretty quiet for me. The next confirmed event on the ATLP calendar is the Colorado Rail Proto Meet on October 17th and 18th in Greeley, Colorado. You can learn more about this awesome RPM at corpm.org. We'll be going live on Sunday, August 23rd at 8 p.m. Eastern on YouTube for our August Operating Crew giveaway. This month, we're giving away a Great Northern Fire Prevention car from our friends at Broadway Limited Imports. Don't miss out on your chance to win. Become a member of the ATLP Operating Crew before 5 p.m. on the day of the drawing to be eligible. Head to aroundthelayout.com/crew to sign up today. And now you're up to date on what's happening in model railroading. We'll catch you again next month. Thank you for joining us for this episode of Around the Layout. Learn more about today's episode, check out past shows, and much more on our website, aroundthelayout.com. Show your support by becoming an operating crew member at aroundthelayout.com/crew. Follow us on social media, aroundthelayout.com/social. And send us your feedback, aroundthelayout@gmail.com. Thanks for hanging out with us around the layout.